Well, one of the credits that is given to your government is that you changed the mood of Pakistani nation regarding the war on terrorism. But recently, there have been blatant violations by NATO forces on Pakistan ground. Do you think Pakistan and United States are now at a different level after what has happened in the last 1 week?
We've had a 60-years-old relationship with the United States since we came into being as a nation. I don't think those relations are so weak that one or two or a particular incident could weaken them. But every time there is a strike against Pakistan or the interest of the United States or the interest of Pakistan, I think our relationships become further joined together.
Become joined together after the strike? How does that?
Not after the strike. Whenever there is a strike against our interest or their interest.
Right. But you realize that this recent violation has been taken very seriously by many.
The violation is a totally different thing. We've already complained upon the violation. We've asked the NATO forces, we've asked them. Actually, the border is very porous. Whether the hill stops here or hill stops in Afghanistan, half the time we don't know. So it's a violation of that nature. But we've taken serious notice of it and we've complained to our friends and they have accepted the responsibility.
In the past you have warned that militancy could creep back because of the damage that was done by the floods. Do you stand by this claim?
Yes, ma'am, I do stand by that claim because what are these non-state actors, as I call them, and terrorists, as you call them, or individuals who have an agenda of their own, or a world agenda? They're looking for weak states. Wherever you've seen the state structure weakened, whether it's Africa, whether it's Yemen, whether it's Afghanistan, then they have emerged the sort of leading forces there. So they're waiting for the structure of Pakistan to weaken. They're waiting for the civil administration to weaken, to take over. They want to take over Pakistan. They don't just want to be around and attack Pakistan or fight us, but they're waiting in the wings to take over Pakistan, to change this region. This is a regional threat. And they have their own agenda. They have a world agenda. They want to change the old or the new world order. They want to bring in a new world order, dictated by them.
You mentioned yourself that they have an agenda against the world. So in particular, if we are affected, our neighbors are affected as well. That brings me to Afghanistan and India. I know you started off with a very positive note towards India, but then Mumbai attacks happened. Now there's a recent upheaval in Kashmir. Where do we stand on the issue of Kashmir with India?
We are hoping to educate the democratic forces in India, because they are an older democracy, a mature democracy, to look at it from our prism and think about growing together rather than in isolation. So the more we interact, the more the democracy of India reaches out to democracy in Pakistan and vice versa, I think we can bring strength to this situation.
Well, I mentioned Mumbai attacks. That was one of the major reasons
that is one of the non-state actors act.
Exactly. That's why I brought that up. But that also brought negative propaganda in the media world.
Always does. Pakistan. It's like 9/11. There were non-state actors that took a superpower to war.
Yes.
Now these non-state actors are wanting to take India and Pakistan to war.
But then
we have to make sure Pakistani politicians and leadership and Indian leadership and politicians have to make sure that that does not happen.
But then again, because my question was that this results in negative propaganda. Let's look at WikiLeaks story, which many people denied, but even then there was negative propaganda against Pakistan. There's repeated negative propaganda about Pakistan's ISI, and now this negative propaganda has reached cricket. You, as President of Pakistan, are also patron-in-chief of Pakistani cricket.
I think it's the new medium and the new media which happens to have the new power, which it does not seem to realize what the effect is going to be, whether it's local media or international media. They come up with unfounded stories. A WikiLeaks, for instance, nobody's going into the details of it. They're just taking out abstracts out of it, which have no real intelligence proof. But these are just gossip, or rather talk, or rather individuals' wishes. Those are considered as, tapes. Now those tapes have been leaked. The information on that is not necessarily true.
But do you think we should have a counter-propaganda machine?
I think all governments have tried and failed.
Coming back to cricket, do you think, you realize that there was a lot of negative criticism on Mr. Ijaz Butt as well. Do you think there should be a replacement for him? Because many people bring in you again in that equation, saying because he is related to one of your ministers, that's why you're not taking action.
I think he's somebody who's one of the few people who's worn the cap and played cricket himself. But as far as the weaknesses in the system go, those need to be fixed. And the weaknesses do not get fixed by individuals. It's a collective, it's a whole body. The cricket is not one Ijaz Butt, it's a whole body of, decision makers. But
then should we change the whole body? Because they say there should be democracy within the cricket board, because at the moment it's more like a dictatorial process in which people are selected.
I would not know, because I haven't really been a member of the board, but it does come under the president's review. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it is my power. It is again the power of the parliament.
हम बात करें सदर पाकिस्तान आसिफ जरदारी साहब से, मगर वक्त हुआ एक वक्फे का। देखते रहिए इस्लामाबाद से।